out of the box developer. Hello, Chila. Hello, Pedro. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Hello, Hugo, and hello, Pedro. Nice to have you here.
Hey, hello guys, hello Hugo, hello Chile. Yeah, this. It's hard because it's like in the end of my work time here, so it's sometimes
Oh,
we don't end this time,
and,
so that's
and
a
you have to
problem.
shift the context.
Yeah, so fast.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's really nice to be here. I would love to have a great discussion today.
great. And yeah, if you have seen here, my background is quite different from usually. I had some issues on my light bulb in the room, in my conventional room, so I had to stay outside of my room. I hope the all the noise around here uh, doesn't get in trouble with that. I also
Yeah.
have a mosquito killer on my side, so if you hear some splash, it is because I got one mosquito less.
My
I-
mosquito killer is a little more
uh,
manual.
manual.
When
Yeah.
Mine is
Do you know that, Chila?
I have this one. It's a
uh,
light.
Oh,
I have
mine
this red
is.
view.
Uh-huh.
And whoa, look here. We have also Douglas here. Hello, Douglas. How are you?
Howdy, howdy. How's it going?
Fine, thanks. We just went live today,
Yeah.
and yeah, we already have a message here from George Tavares. Hey, hello, Georgia. How are you? Good to have you here. And yeah, today we're gonna talk about side project, right? Who doesn't have side project on at least on their minds, waiting to become something real, something real to put in the paper, yeah, and start to work on
Yeah.
that. So if you are watching us and you have side projects and you wish to share, you can share a little bit about that. And if you have any challenge on making it running or putting it into execution, yeah, share with us what is your biggest challenge on that. What you have been if you already started, what is the biggest challenge on finishing it? I believe that we have lots of challenge on both moments, right? To start
Mhm.
and also to get into the end. And I just see here, Thiago also joined us. Hello, Thiago. How are you?
Hello, my friends. I'm great. And how about you?
Fine, thanks. Good to have you here today. And well, since you just joined us, let me ask a question for you, Thiago. Do you have a side project running on your side? Uh, do you have any challenge on running side project on your end? I would ask everyone actually.
Yeah, not now, but I already have some in my past, but not now.
Good, good. I also I think I'm in the same state as you. I have some side projects in the past. Some I had accomplished it to finish it. Some never went out of my mind, just ideas. I started to note stuff, but never went into implementation actually. And some I started but never ended. And yeah, many reasons behind that. I think one of the biggest challenge I had was, yeah, I think George just mentioned it, too much work on the current job, and yeah, I think that's the most the killer one, right? We have some priorities in our end, and it's quite difficult to balance it, or sometimes the priority changes and the purpose behind the project, the time to market of that project become outdated, at least for me. And I think that's one very common challenge for most. Yeah, Douglas, you made
I
some face that you want to add something. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it depends, right? So, the thing is that it depends on, the motivation behind the project, right? If it's something that it's torturing you every day, like there's a thing that you have to do every day, and you don't want to do that thing anymore, and you could write a piece of software that alleviates all the pain, then nothing will stop you from writing it or for creating it and deploying it somewhere. Now, the target, the target of it is also important. If you're the target, then you don't have to actually do a lot of like the production ready, stuff that you have to do to get it ready. Just get it deployed somewhere. Put it on a little virtual machine on your computer, and then it just can run into this little Docker container forever, and you can just do whatever you need to do to make it work, right? But if you're going to make it something that you're going to put out to the public, then that's probably the biggest intimidation of it all, which is getting authorization, authentication, password storage, and getting deployment somewhere where it's secured. And you think about all this stuff, and then you go, you know what? Not that important. And then you move on. Like your boss calls you and goes, hey, there's a fire over here you need to come put out. Come on, let's go. And then you forget all about what you were doing. That's probably where a lot of that comes into play.
Yes, I agree with you, but I think even for those small things that is that need to do some even if it doesn't embrace a lot of concerns going to public or stuff like that. In the very beginning, I had a lot of difficulties to get started, maybe to get or when I start, I get it put it on the side, keep it on side and never finish it. I'm not sure if everyone have this kind of challenge even when it is a small scope project.
Well, everything seems like it's a small scope until you actually start trying to work on it.
Yeah,
and then the scope just goes, because what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? You got to hold the whole universe in your head as you're trying to actually codify something that was. So let's think about this for a minute. When you get an idea that busts out of nowhere, it's probably coming through your right brain, right? It's probably coming through the more creative right brain side, the artist's side, right? Mm-hmm. But then what happens is you got to actually like interact with the with the universe here and create that thing. So then the left side of the brain has to start actually doing some work on it. And when it starts doing it, that's when it's like, it gets caught up. So one of the challenges that I deal with, or I've had to deal with, even with projects at work, is if I'm given a blank slate to work with, it's so hard from a blank slate. That's the empty page of the writer. You got the whole universe in your brain. How do you communicate it out to someone in this serial fashion, writing it out? And even with programming, we have this idea of how everything should work. How do we get it to where it's in the code? And that's actually part of the art form too. I was realizing something the other day. I don't know if any of y'all have ever done this before, but I was fixing a problem with some authentication in that HTMX stack that we talked about some episodes ago. And I actually fixed 3 bugs at once. Like, I just kept seeing things, and then I'm like, it just kept working on stuff, and everything came together in the end with it all fixed. And that's a different way of working on stuff, because it's not like I would really recommend doing it that way. But it worked out. It worked out really well. So that's the whole thing, is that like trying to get this grand idea that comes up out into the universe, and I say that out into your computer in code, is extremely challenging. So I guess the techniques that we would need to talk about is how could you take a side project that you don't have a product owner talking to the users, you don't have project managers, you don't have a team lead, you're doing all of it with a conversation in your own head between between the part of it that had the idea and the part that's got to go implement it. And how do you knock it down to a point where you can actually get that thing out into code? And I will give you my thought on this, and then I'm going to let it go. It's actually, don't care. Don't try to get everything right. Get that core concept and get some code written around the core concept to just get something working. And then when you have that code working, then you can look at it and see, okay, I know how all the pieces can go together now, and then you can actually build it up into a set of features, which I'm still having a challenge with. One of the side projects I've got all the individual pieces written in different places. I'm having trouble getting it all to come together in that one place.
That's interesting point. Yeah, go ahead. Someone.
Go ahead. I can go next.
Oh, okay. But I would add interesting thought, Douglas. When I want to put something out, I usually try to share with someone the idea and try to to spit it out. But it is also challenging for me to find a person that you can trust some idea that is not really well defined on your mind, and you are not really prepared to actually put it out. The other side needs to be patient to hear and trying to understand you. And it works very well when I do some session with my psychologist. So because she's there to hear you, and you spit out.
They were paid to listen.
Yes,
to you.
You paid for that, exactly. So it works really well because I don't have to. I spit out all unstructured words, and she does structure for me, and it works really well. But I know that in outside this context, it is challenging to have someone to actually share these ideas. I see some comments here. Manuel just mentioned it. I usually talk about ideas with my teachers on Cambly. Good. Cambly is a platform.
A platform for studying English.
Oh, good. That's great.
So you can sign with a teacher, and you say, okay, let us talk about 1 hour, half an hour.
That's creative, Manuel.
Yeah, and then you can speak English, train your English, and speak about your ideas.
Your side project
get your idea out through. Talk about multiple layers. That's
multiple layers of. They use it all the time.
It's like the Douglas example of fixing 3 bugs at one time.
Yeah. I don't even know how that really happened. It's just like I kept seeing things that, that actually could be a problem, and I would kind of modify it, and then I'm like, so I just was going in there, like as I was going through the engine and going, that's a little loose, and just keep going through as I was finding things, and then I found the main thing I came in there to fix, and I fixed it, and then when it was all said and done, and I went through all my testing, everything checked out, and I just walked away, and that was 3 bugs fixed, and and I'm like, wow, I wonder how this ever worked at all. That's actually going to show you, though. You might think that people are using this in production. They were using it in production, and like they would report like maybe 5% of the time something weird with the authentication system would occur, but there was always a way around it. And so like my manager said, hey, could you just like take a look and see if you see anything? And I had an idea as to what it could be. And I jumped in there and then wound up fixing 3 things at once. And like all of those things could actually have caused the problems that they were reporting. And everything's a lot more solid now. I won't bore you with the details. It was just kind of fun when I realized I just fixed 3 bugs at once. What?
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Go ahead,
Well,
Thiago. Yep. Oh,
oh,
sorry,
sorry.
Pedro.
Go ahead, Pedro. No problem.
No, I was talking about I'm not having my side project currently is a mentorship program, right? And of course, when you do these kind of things, you have other stuff like uh, writing, blogging, and using sending mails and sending stuff to the social media, and we have lots of stuff, and we ended up not doing that a lot because everything takes time, right? And then in using then I actually get to a point of automation where I can where it's very easy to me now to write something in the blog, and then well, the thing that needs to go to the newsletter to go to the newsletter, the thing that needs to go to the social media to go to social media, like in a way that it's that now it's easily automated, you know. But and in this case, I didn't use any code, so it's just no code tools and integration. And so I think most of this is small things sometimes we need to do for ourselves. We can find like integration integration tools that we can use. So yeah, I don't know if it can be considered a side project, but yeah, it's
I think for me at least, side project doesn't mean only coding project. I think any project that you want to achieve to make it running on your outside your formal traditional work, that you want to be uh, making it possible. And we actually bring this discussion. Let me just redo the question here for our audience. I asked about if you have any side project or any idea of side project. What is your biggest challenge to get started on these side project or finish them? Because we are discussing other day last week actually, and it is quite a common challenge, right? It is quite a common problem we have. We always have some brilliant ideas that we have some challenge to put it in practice, or we have some challenge so we already started but we never finish it. And one thing that we are discussing actually it is with the uh, accessibility of those AI tools, it will actually change. It is actually a game changer for this side project. We're gonna be able to make it more easier to achieve that, even to start or finish those projects.
Yeah.
We are using some stuffs already. We do. What is the status now? What we are using now, or what we can use now, and what we can be using in the future, in the near future, because all these AI stuffs. I'm every week I'm reading stuff, new stuff, becoming accessible for us, and it's fascinating. And so that was the point here. The big discussion that we would like to share here.
Well, I
Go ahead.
was gonna jump into that next, which is that
Mhm.
when you said, my therapist or my psychologist is paid to listen to me. Well, you can actually pay ChatGPT to do that listening too, and you can share an idea with it. And the interesting thing about it is if you have access to GPT-4 or you have access, Gemini came out from Google and it's actually really good. I've been experimenting with it. So Gemini is actually really good too. There's a little bit of a minute difference between the two, and I'll describe that in a second. But you could tell it your idea. You could sit there and talk to it, and it'll actually start to break down things that you need to go do to make this work. What I haven't tried to do yet is tell it, hey, don't act like I'm going to production with this. Just like I'm making a toy project, a proof of concept to see if this thing will work. what is the minimum that I need to implement? And I kind of gone in that direction a little bit, but it's really interesting. When you tell it you don't need a lot of code, but you want to actually implement functionality, it will start to generate like code that might answer the question as to how I can do this. And I'm more leaning toward using it to quickly generate proof of concepts and fully integrated proof of concepts. And the magical part is you should be able to take that proof of concept code, feed it in there, and say make it production ready.
That's one problem I haven't tried yet.
Yeah. And the main thing, though, and this is what I want people to pay attention to here, is there's two distinctions between ChatGPT and Gemini. The two distinctions are that if you have a team account with ChatGPT, which I do, because I basically have an account now for me and my wife, so she can use ChatGPT on household or whatever other projects that she's got, and she wants to talk to it about stuff, and see what knowledge is out there on it from ChatGPT side of things. She can do that. And then, but the cool thing about it is if you have a team account, they do not use your chats in training. Gemini says, we will review all your stuff. So if you go look at Gemini, it says, we will review all your chats. And so if you are talking about stuff you don't want them to review, don't put that in there. So Gemini is really not a great one for that, but ChatGPT team accounts are a good one for working on ideas and talking about stuff. I've even experimented with throwing some transcripts in there, and its window is evidently large enough to handle, a decently sized conversation transcript in there to go through and like pull main points out of the entire conversation, to-dos, and all of that kind of stuff. So if you were having a conversation about your project and you take if you happen to have a transcript of that conversation that you were having, you could put it into ChatGPT and it would start to put project plans together for you.
That's advanced feature I haven't tried. I have the GPT-4 access, and it is really amazing to get feedbacks and discussing with the GPT-4. It is indeed really good to help me structure things. Still, don't spit things randomly like I do with my psychologist, but I believe that at some point it will be so easy to interact with it that can actually become a good tool to help me structure the ideas. It is already really good, but still not talk with it. Maybe I think they will release in the near future. We're gonna be talking, not typing anymore with those.
You can already talk. So
we can already talk
on the phone app, the mobile app. You can hit a button and actually just have a voice conversation with it.
I haven't tried it yet. That's true.
Yeah, from the app we can talk. But Douglas, do you think that using ChatGPT is better than using Copilot when you're on the code already?
That's actually a really interesting question. So I've used Copilot and I've used GPT-4 at the same time. Copilot is cool when you are in the code and you need to think about stuff going on in the code. GPT-4 is like when you're trying to do like holistic, I'm putting a design together. I want to, is this even possible? Am I forgetting anything? And it will, it'll come back through and say, your idea sounds very sound, but maybe you need to think about this, this, and this, and this. So it will actually give you that kind of feedback. Copilot is not necessarily meant for that job, but it's gotten so much better. Like I can literally tell it inside my code, write a comment with a question in it, and it'll throw an answer out right below the commented question. So it does do some interesting things, but it's not exactly that. So I find that I have GPT open and then Copilot is doing stuff for me inside the code editor as I'm doing stuff. Now, this is for my side project. Remember that if you work for a large corporation like I do, they're going to let you just keep operating with your hands tied behind your back because they're not going to let you use these tools. I'm like, I could write code so much faster. I'd be done already if I had Copilot on my, in my editor at work. But nope, we're not doing that. But what I have done, and this is, and I will say that in a very general way, sometimes without going into any detail, that's an important aspect of this. I will put a musing out there. Hey, I'm thinking about this kind of project. And this is something I'm like toying with right now. So very abstract, general ideas. What are your thoughts? And it will actually give you some thoughts I need to think about for like even stuff I'm working on at work without putting any IP in there whatsoever. So you just like, I'm trying to work through this thing, and it'll be the little bit that pushes you forward. Right. And so not exactly with my hands tied, but maybe one hand tied behind my back now. Maybe that's what it's more like, is one hand tied behind my back instead of two.
Sure. So in terms, so we were talking about side project here. So do you think we can use ChatGPT and Copilot, or do you still have another AIs you're using?
For side projects, absolutely, man. I mean, you use everything you've got, right? Again, like I said, Copilot, really good for inside the code. Like, look at this code. Tell me what I need to do to make sure that it's, am I forgetting to do any error catching? Is there some kind of error that I have not like thought about? And it can give you that kind of answer. You're trying to get like an algorithm out of your head, and you just kind of tell it what you're trying to do, and maybe even give it some maybe an algorithm to kind of mingle with what you've got, and it can actually take the surrounding code and mingle an algorithm. It can integrate with an algorithm and then write the code for that algorithm out there. So if you know about the algorithm, then you can actually get ChatGPT to give you an example, not ChatGPT, Copilot, to actually write the code within your code editor that takes your surrounding code into account with said algorithm. What? Oh. Transformation code. I love it for transformation code. You give it what you're starting with and tell it what it needs to end with, and it'll write the transformation code. No more mapping code.
I was thinking about and besides I think it's quite connected to what Pedro mentioned here. Besides ChatGPT and Copilot, there is quite popular solutions we have access. Are you, everyone here, are you using any different solution for this? To help us on productivity? I've been quite in touch with Perplexity.ai. I have better structure than ChatGPT. Sometimes, it's not every time, so I have to shift between them all the time. If one give better structure than another, I answer the same question for both. And have been an interesting output from that. I don't know if you anyone here have been using anything different or any of those plugins that ChatGPT allows us to add on the sidebar.
I have an answer, but I'm going to let anyone else answer first before I do.
For those that never heard about Perplexity,
Well, Perplexity, I was going to say that I would like to hear your thoughts on Perplexity, because I've not actually used it. But the interesting thing that you said about like other other LLMs that might be out there, I do run some LLMs locally. I have a couple of them. There's a really cool project, if you don't mind going into the terminal, called Ollama, and yeah. it will let you, like, it's just like Docker. You're pulling a Docker container down. You can pull LLMs down and run them if you have the hardware to do it. It like on my right. M1, it knows how to run it on Metal, which is the GPU. the other one that I use is LM Studio, which is a way better. Like if you want a user interface, just go for LM Studio right off the bat, because it will let you go pull models from, I believe you have a Hugging Face URL, and you can pull models in that way, and it'll download it and knows how to run it on the kind of hardware that you've got available. If you have a GPU, a CPU, or any of that, and then it creates the chat interface, kind of like ChatGPT. And it saves your chats and all of that happy stuff. So it's really cool for doing it. But I'm going to tell you something. When I'm in the thick of it and I need to get some stuff done, I don't want to wait for the machine to process the tokens for it to go through the LLM and start spitting it out. And at this point, unless I want to start up a VM in the cloud somewhere with a GPU, which is really expensive, I can just pay $60 a month for that team account from ChatGPT from OpenAI, and use ChatGPT-4, and that one gives me 100 messages every 3 hours to GPT-4, which pretty much means I can just sit and talk to it all day long if I want to. It's actually you get a lot more done. The other is really cool because here's the thing to think about. If you have a model on your machine, you have all the knowledge, all of human knowledge sitting in that model on your computer. And if you have one that's uncensored, if you ever needed to do some stuff that let's say we lost everything and you could get your computer up and running again, you might be able to get enough information out of there to start society over again. So, just a little bit of thinking about having like models. There's a YouTuber that actually talked about like his project to preserve a model by like even getting a Faraday bag in case an EMP occurred that would save like the computer and the and the drive and all of that stuff. So I mean, there's a lot to think about out there, but just for trying to get some work done, man, I'd go to Gemini if you don't mind them like reading all your stuff. And Gemini is really good though. That's the hard part. Is it's so good. It's fast. I think it's faster than ChatGPT, and it puts a lot of thought into what it's saying. And then the other part is the ChatGPT itself. It's just fast. I mean, I threw an entire hour-long transcript into it, and like in almost 10 seconds, it started telling me things. Where I tried it on my computer, and I've got 64 gigs of RAM. I can load the whole thing up. I can load most of these models, that are running like quantized a little bit, right? But I can load most of these models up, and I've got, it just sits there for 5 minutes trying to think about it. And I'm like, no, this isn't going to work. So I'm going to go use this thing that I'm paying for, and they've got so much GPU, my brain's swimming thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Just to share with people here, you mentioned about I shared Ollama, and you mentioned LM Studio. It is
LM Studio. Let me get you the link for that.
If it's lmstudio.ai, I got here.
Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's exactly the thing. LM Studio AI.
And it is the idea behind it. It is the same as Ollama, but has an interface.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah. I mean, Ollama's cool because, and I think that maybe this will do it too, but Ollama actually has a web server running underneath the cover so that you can actually point your code. Like if you're using LangChain or something, it tries to maintain an ability layer with the OpenAI API calls. And so you can actually point it directly at your, the URL at your local running against the instance, and it will handle scheduling and all that stuff too. So if you throw two requests at the same time, or two different models, it'll actually, queue them up and unload models and reload and load other models in as, and try to process everything in time. So it does that. I can't remember if LM Studio does that because I've not used LM Studio to do that, but I know Ollama has some interesting functionality as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, cool stuff. I tried Ollama, but just experimenting. Go ahead. Someone Pedro? I don't know. So someone would ask something.
No, I was thinking that, yeah. So, but are you using that to create your side project? So you started,
The
you're
GPT.
creating your AI side project, right?
Yeah,
That's the idea.
yeah. So
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
the local
I
one.
actually, yeah. Well, in terms of now, not thinking on coding at least, and in my case, for example, as far as I said, right? Uh, I'm using ChatGPT to the same. I got for example, I have a video, and I got it. I create a video. I got a transcript, the old transcript of the video. I put in there, and then I asked the ChatGPT to create, for example, a newsletter talking like me about that stuff and blah blah blah, and then I can create a newsletter almost exactly the way I want, and I can send to the guy, say, oh, you have this new video here, so you can take a look. We're talking about this and that. Blah. So yeah, there's a one thing. Or I can just get that information and create an article talking about what we did, blah blah, to everything, and I put in the blog post, right? It's only ChatGPT doing stuff.
Yep.
But as soon as I create this is my what I call it my source, right? I have a source. For example, I had a small talk with Rafa Donato, right? And I create the video. So I put the video there in YouTube. I got the transcript, right? It's easy to get the transcript from YouTube. So
Yep.
there are lots of ways to do it. I have a plugin that I can just download the transcript, right?
Which
And so
plugin?
yeah, I have one here.
I just do it the hard
link.
way. I go in and I select the entire transcript, hit Command C, and then Command V into a text editor, and I do some work on it. But if you got a plugin that you trust, I would love to see it.
Yeah, it works. I have this. What the name of this guy? YouTube summary. YouTube summary. I have the link here. Glasp. I use that just for downloading because it's I think it's exactly calls the YouTube API and give me the transcript here.
It might just be able to go into the page and grab it from the div that it sits in the page. That may does it too.
There's a way to do that as well. But the goodness is when we get all the stuff, and then you can use it anywhere, right?
Yep.
So in my this is good for me because as soon as I have the text from the source of the content I'm creating, man, I can do anything. Then I can put everything inside the blog, and then starting automating the other stuff as already said, But because for example, I create a blog post, one of with the content, and then I go to Missing Letter. You know Missing Letter, and Missing Letter has another AI running inside it that takes chunks of text, and then it starts creating some headlines to this content. Say, oh, you can do that right now. You can see more here, and then we have a link, right? But there are others, guy. For example, I can ask ChatGPT to create a small script for a video, for a voiceover video, for example. And then I use another AI that can create a small video voice transcript or with the text talking, and then we have a new video with that, right? I have two actually. I'm using Filmora one. Filmora is working for that as well. Filmora is one a video editor, and I'm using what's the name here? Steve AI. It works as well. Not the perfect one, not the perfect thing, but it works. It can create stuff really fast.
Yeah.
So that's this things. Steve.ai. Yeah. So when we mix these things, even I'm not coding, I'm automating my life. Right?
Yep. Yeah, that's really cool. So another little tip, if people want one, is that if you do the transcript deal, you can feed that transcript into GPT-4 and just like, I need the most important pieces of information out of the video, please. And it will you don't have to watch a 30-minute video to get the most important pieces of the video out. If it's like something where people are just talking for, 2 hours or
1
something like
hour.
that. Now,
Yeah.
might want to watch the video because there might be some context in there that you don't get from those important points. But here's the thing, it'll whet your appetite. You can actually see, oh, that's kind of actually interesting. Where did they talk about that? And then you can actually start to go dig into the video more if you want to, but you don't waste an entire 2 hours watching it. Like, how do I get my 2 hours back?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the point.
I'm not telling
So
people don't watch videos. I'm just saying
talking to a
that's what
video, right?
Yeah.
You can talk to a video, but there are some AI that says, "Oh, you can talk to a video here," blah. And if you get only the YouTube link and paste it to ChatGPT or paste it to Bing, all this, or I tried in Gemini, all this AI they say, "Oh, I'm a Texas based stuff. I cannot
Yep.
I cannot see the video for you." But they don't say that, oh, you can just, okay, I'm not saying the video, I'm pasting the transcript for you.
Just
So
paste it in
let's
there.
talk about it. Yeah, so let's talk about it. It's the same.
You can also do this. So ChatGPT with the code, I think it's code interpreter. What you can do is be able to put it into a text file and upload the text file and ask a question. You can ask a question of the file that you upload it to. I like more if the context window has enough space in it to just paste the entire transcript into the window, because then I know that it's taking account of everything, and not like dropping some of it, doing like a chunked embedding and vector search on it first before giving me the information. Yeah, so just a little bit more there in case anyone's interested. But absolutely, like we talked about, it can help with coding side projects. It can help with mentorship side projects. There's just all this stuff going on there. And I guess that maybe what it kind of boils down to is it will give the software engineer the way to be able to very quickly iterate on ideas, get stuff out there, see what works, and potentially, if they ever had to, you could probably put a project together in a week that might have taken 6 months to test it to see if people will pay for it or not.
I was exactly thinking on that point, and let me just say hello. I see Aisha. Hello, Aisha. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us. And well, we are discussing about lots of tools from AI that can help us. But on the other side, I believe that to get into that point also took a lot of time, right? I believe that Pedro, when you create your pipeline of content processing and creation of the transcript and so, I know that now that it's automated, it's all good, but does it changes too much from what people like George Tavares in the very beginning said about too much work here on the current job to there are no times for any side project. I know that it makes lots of things accessible for us, like Douglas said, for a developer, for engineer, to get all those things to promote the content, to make it available, and even to create the videos cuts. That is small. It is a small task, but actually you have to watch and get the right cut, and that is.
And I still don't have this, right? This is something that I still don't have it. I think this is something I'm looking for.
Struggling yet,
if there is some that can cut like small pieces, good pieces of the video, like not only cut, but say, oh, find good pieces for me, right? But of
Yeah.
course, it can do like using the video, but it can do using the text.
Too. Yeah. But my
Yeah.
point
I don't
is,
know
does the
how to do that, but yeah.
but my point is, does the work just move it from doing that stuff and to learn AI tools to do it for you? What do you think?
No.
Yeah.
No, the
Go
problem
ahead.
is, and this is something I've been dealing with in my head a lot lately, is that what does the future look like for software engineers? I do not think that you can ask ChatGPT for the foreseeable future to create a full product for you and, not need to understand what it's producing. And so
Mm.
you've got to have the experience, you got to have the engineering mind to understand and look at the code that's coming out, to know how to put it together. In fact, right now, ChatGPT works better on small little chunks. Help me write this class that does A, B, and C, right? You still, or even, here's the thing, this is actually what I found. You could use ChatGPT to say, I'm creating a project that does this, this, and this, and this. What do you think the entities look like? And then it starts going through there, and then you start, you can have a conversation around what the entities look like. Give me a, not in Hibernate, I'm going in the .NET, give me a Hibernate Spring something or another specification for all of my entities, please, and it will actually print them all out. It'll be good. You can use them and go from there. But you're not saying create the whole piece of software. You can have it help you think through some of the problems you might come into. But let me tell you from experience of my own, don't do that, because you'll just stay in that shape forever. Try to get the minimum, especially if it's a side project, get the minimum feature that you need. Start thinking about what's the minimum amount of code I can put together and have it run that I can use it. And then from there, you know what needs to come next. And if you don't have a complete idea, you can say, here's what I've got. And this is what I think is up next. ChatGPT, do you think I'm missing anything? Do you have anything to add? And that's when the magic starts. You take your software engineering mind and you do software engineering things, and then you converse with this thing like it's a senior architect or a senior engineer right with you that you can just talk to all day long, and they don't care. No judgment.
That's the best part.
No judgment is good.
No judgment.
That's right. That's another cultural thing in our field, that when you start asking questions and doing stuff, you think someone's judging you. And the thing about ChatGPT, you're free, just crazy ideas as you can think of, and ask it like, why do you think I shouldn't do that? And it will say, hey, that's actually really a unique, innovative way of thinking about it. Or it'll say, you might want to think about security and these kind of things that you haven't thought about when you said that stuff. And you're like, oh yeah, well, we're going to ignore that for now and go forward. But it's the thing is that you have this resource that has all of knowledge sitting in it, and you can use it to help your software engineering brain to put things together faster than you did before. But you still have to have the brain. You can't skip the learning the stuff.
Yeah, we can't skip to learning. And actually, when we
Go ahead, Peter.
no, actually, when I started using ChatGPT to do these things, I was not. I didn't like the answers or something like that. And then when we start doing that in a better way, or start learning prompt engineering, at least a little, right? We have many small books that are out there currently, so you can use it. And
Yeah.
we need to use that as a tool, right? And we know, okay, this as a tool can help me on this. And another thing, I don't like it, so I will not use it. So let's improve it. This other stuff here, and then it's become like a very useful tool, right? And of course, we are talking about ChatGPT, but as we are said here, we have, for example, I send here a link. That is one of the builders that I create a builder in ChatGPT that's built, and I put all the knowledge we discuss in our mentorships for international career. I put many, not all, but many of the knowledge we discussed there. I'm trying to improve it even more. And then, man, this guy turned it on in a very useful tool for me because he now knows lots of things that I talk. He now knows the way I like to discuss about interviews. He now knows the way I like to do all this kind of thing. And now I have a partner, and I can share with my mentees as well. Say, oh guys, this guy here has we are inputting what we're discussing here, so we can use that to help us in any way we're thinking. For at least in our case, for our main mentorship program. So yeah,
A really cool idea.
I enjoy it. Of course, we may fear. Oh, maybe people will like to talk to ChatGPT, not to me. But you say, oh, but this is the point, right? If you have someone who can talk to 24/7, right?
No judgment.
No
24/7.
judgment.
No judgment.
Yeah.
No fear of judgment.
Of course, I can't do that. I can't help my mentees like this, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, we can like scale this stuff. But this is another stuff. When I talk about OpenAI, we don't know how to monetize this kind of builders we create. That we still don't have a way to do that.
I think people are going down the monetization path. I mean, they've got like custom GPTs now that you can put up on the store and charge for. Then on top of that, there's a bunch of people. Actually, it's really maddening how many people are creating the AI solution to end all problems. You go look at AppSumo and see how many things have the two letters AI in them, and you will see what is going on with trying to monetize AI.
Yeah.
And what I've found is that most of them are selling, prompts at that point, right? They're giving you an interface that has a system message that's built into it that you don't know what it is, and they're having it generate stuff. And I have not found a one that I really want to use yet. I'd rather make my own that knows me.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
because
Go ahead. Go ahead, Pete.
No, I was thinking because when we are only using prompts, we always can replicate this thing, right? But when you put your knowledge there, and then it becomes different. If you put your process,
Yeah,
I saw a friend creating a one of these builders that calls Jarvis. He called Jarvis. It's a
right,
good name.
Jarvis. Yeah.
I saw that many out there currently with this name.
Oh, mine,
But he
Alfred.
called Jarvis. But why? Because he was giving this ChatGPT a way to talk to his code. So he can say, okay, take a look at this code and see and give me what you know. So he teaches the code to navigate in the files, navigate using Git, and then just use it the info they already know about the code. So okay, and then when he start doing this stuff, he start sending commands to the prompt and say, oh, let's see this. And he starts opening the files, looking the cats, doing cats, and then you can say, oh, okay, this code does this, and that. And then he started creating a way to talk to this and make it work for him. So that's the idea. That's his idea. So okay, create that class, do that. Create a test class, run the tests, see if the test passed. Oh, the test is not passing. Fix it, and then it fix it. Because he has a way to look at the code, has a way to change the code, has a way to push the code to the Git, and then he said, okay. When you look at the code, man, it's like No more
Small
than
piece of
50
code.
lines. Yeah. No more than 50 lines to do this thing.
So now the
There's a
conclusion.
GitHub.
So now the conclusion is we are starting to use AI to create AI side projects.
Oh yeah.
Very meta. Very meta at this
Very
point.
mad.
Well,
Yeah.
I just see the message from George Savard. It's so sad. Instead of out of the box, I am out of time. And Georgie, you're not alone. I believe that everyone here had this challenge, this issue, and yeah, at least wrapping up all we are saying here, we have some tools in our hand that can actually help us and to make a bit more effective our day to day to start any new project, right? Not that solves everything, but at least make us more effective on starting discussing it and trying to put out from our head. It is I think it is exactly what Copilot mean, right? It is helping us. It is copiloting us. It is an assistant that can help us on our day-to-day challenges. And at least for me, we are seeing lots of things that is releasing all the time and more becoming better and better. Like Douglas said about Gemini. I haven't tried Gemini yet. I've been using GPT-4 and Perplexity only. Like to have some experience, put my hands on that too. But yeah, makes sense for you, Georgie. I think uh, it, I don't know if in the future actually we have now we are close to reach 1 hour, but last question here maybe in the future. What we're gonna be what we can expect on with these evolutions.
Well, I surprise. I'm going to talk. So basically, I think that in the near term, things are kind of be gradual right now. We're going to have a lot of software engineers sitting around trying to experiment with what they can do. You're going to have a lot of marketers, a lot of salespeople experimenting with what they can do with AI. It's going to be a lot of experimentation, right? As time goes on, one of the things that I can see or that I see happening, people may disagree with me, and I think that they do, is that we may get to a point as software engineers where there may not be as many software engineering jobs because of what we're talking about right now. You can take a chat GPT and you can help accelerate you as a senior engineer. Well, that means that companies are going to see that too at some point. Corporations are going to see that too. So one senior engineer might get 4 or 5 different instances of a chat GPT to start throwing questions at it, 5 or 10 at a time, to start having things happen. And you could see that happening at some point. That means that if there's fewer corporate software engineering jobs, what I see in the future is that people who know how to create are going to probably have to go out and start creating on their own and not have that safety net of a W-2 position forever. They're going to have to make a really cool thing, or they're going to have to make something that people will pay money for and go that route. A more entrepreneurial or ideas economy is what I think is ahead. Now, not tomorrow, not next year, probably not for 5 years. Some people have said 10 years. But I'm personally, the reason why I'm doing the things I'm doing, the experimentation that I'm doing, is I'm getting ready for that future where I'm going to need to have the idea out there of my own, and I'm going to sell it directly to people. They're going to buy it from me instead of working for a company that pays me.
And you have a book that discusses exactly this topic, right, Douglas?
Well, it's a discussion on like keeping up with this kind of stuff, right? So, future proofing your tech career And this is actually really what it comes down to, is always keeping that finger on the pulse and being able to go out and see stuff like what I'm seeing right now. Now I can paste a link in here. You'll have to share it because I don't have the ability to share links. So
I
someone
think I have
will
the
have
link
to
here.
send that link out across the channels. But this is actually a link to download that book that I'm talking about. And I guess if anyone wants to talk to me, that link will also, after you fill out your information, will take you to a page where you can actually schedule a call with me on my calendar. So there's not like tons and tons of spots, but there are spots out there, so you can talk to me about what I see about this and maybe even how to get ready for it.
Yeah,
I'd
your
share
book
the
is
link.
in lowhangingbook as well.com, right?
It is, absolutely. So this is a direct link to mine, but you can absolutely go to Low Hanging Book. It's just mine. It's at the way bottom of the list. So if we want to send people to the book, it's right there.
We can create an anchor.
Okay. So if you are interested on the book, I totally recommend it to subscribe and put your schedule and conversation with Douglas. It is a really interesting topic, right, to be discussing because it is about future, about things that is changing on our reality, and I'm also excited to see how we're gonna be in a few years. Not maybe in a few months. It will change a lot. So
Yeah.
so we are reaching at the end of our live time and our session. And do you have any last words regarding to this to the topic today?
Well,
I yield the floor to everybody else.
Yeah.
No, I would say that in my opinion, even if you are not working on AI projects directly, like coding, we can use these tools or know how to use or understand how to use them, right? And to not be like I don't know, to not be stay behind. Because when we, and of course, because these tools can help our productivity at in the minimal, right? It helps us in the minimal. We can improve your productivity. So it's important to know everything you are doing today that can use AI to improve your productivity. We need to do. This is important, right? And of course, if you can start to doing a project in using AI, it's much better because then you're gonna learn lots of other stuff, lots of inside information in AI, right? So yeah, but even if you don't, or I don't have time, Pedro, to do this. I don't have time to create a new side project in AI. Sure, no problem. At least use it. Use it to improve your productivity. The bare minimum.
Use it and become use it to use it, right?
Yeah.
How you
Bare
learn,
minimum.
practice using it.
Cool. Awesome. Thiago, do you want to say something in the last?
Yes, I can say something. I think in the past we are usually we say that every day there is a new JavaScript framework. Now I think every day it's a new AI tool. So
That's
Every
Right?
hour.
so true.
Just one day? Just one? Really?
yes, probably much more than one. So this is why we need to keep updated with that because, like Bear said, these AI tools can at least help us to increase our productivity. So yeah.
And never mind, and don't mind the stack that you are. It increases in many other ways, not just your language stack, right? Technology
Yes.
stack.
All right.
And,
Documentation and many more other things. We didn't talk here, but probably many of us use Grammarly, and
mm,
there are some tools that we are already used to it, and we only don't
You can
think more
realize.
about it. Yeah.
Mhm.
And probably this will be the future.
And Sheila, how about you? Do you want to say something?
Yes, I think one important point what you mentioned is with productivity and using AI tools for stuff you don't like to do, like documentation or maybe refactoring code and things like that. So you can split up your work and see how you can organize your work, where you are using your brain or you are relying on some AI tool knowledge, and you need to learn to combine all this together. So experiment with it, and probably you don't have only one new AI tool one day. So every hour there is something new that is coming out, and you just cannot keep up with all that speed. Maybe that's going to be difficult, but trying to choose the right tool for you.
Cool. Yeah, that's true. And you, Douglas, do you want to?
You know, I guess again, basically, it does come down to this is something you have to pay attention to as a software engineer. The saying out there, which came very early, I don't know who to attribute it to, but it's not that the GPT is going to take your job. The AI isn't going to take your job, but the person who learns how to wield that AI to accelerate what they're doing, they're coming. And that's the thing that you have to prepare for. And it may even come down to the fact that you're going to have to wield that AI to create your own company at some point to be able to stay afloat. So, like I said, it sounds like I'm screaming the sky is falling, like Chicken Little would say, but it's just going to be different kind of work. It's going to be a different kind of work, and you still have to have that engineering mind in order to do it. That part hasn't been replaced yet.
My daughter loved Chicken Little. When she was a small age, we saw Chicken Little like hundreds of times. And yeah, completely.
Hugo, I think you're stuck.
Oh.
And in a nice position.
And he's talking at a really
That's a really good
funny.
look.
It's, well, I don't know if something happened with his internet,
Yeah.
but we are in the end of our time currently.
That's
so
right.
do we? I think we have shared all the information we're talking today. We shared lots of links. It's all here, and I think we can say thanks to everybody who listened to us here today. And we had Aisha and enter here, Ayrton, Ediel, Georgie, Manuel, Dan. So everybody who was here and didn't send a comment. The next time you can send a comment, okay? Can comment here, and then you can like have a great talk together. All right.
Mhm.
So thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.